Let me ask you something. Do you guys know what is really common? Top 100 games for a particular system. Let's call it Switch in this case. But do you know what's even more common? People criticizing and complaining about their particular game didn't make the list, or this game should have been on there, that game should not have been on there. Well, I am no different. I looked at a recent listing from the Reddit group, the Nintendo Switch Collectors Reddit group, and they posted their top 100 Nintendo Switch games. There are 20 additional games, so we'll get to that later. And I thought to myself, this game doesn't belong here, that game doesn't belong there. So what do? I make my own top 100 list. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly the games that they chose as a community and the games that I chose. Let's take a look. So folks, we start today's proceedings with a heavy hitter, Celeste. Now let me tell you something about this game. If anybody, specifically any YouTuber, talks about this game being a hidden gem, I want you to do one thing. Unsub from their channel. This game may be a lot of things. A hidden gem, it is no longer. Widely regarded as one of the best platformers out there, I really got into Celeste a little bit late. Initially, I played it. I enjoyed what it had to offer, but then those B-sides kicked in. And with that, my OCD to collect every single strawberry. That was a bad idea, because I quickly let the game go, to the point where I didn't really like Celeste all that much. But years down the road, I decided to give this game another try. And I'm glad I did. And as of today, I have still not beaten this game, but I definitely appreciate a lot more than what I used to. Not a hidden gem, but absolutely worthy of being on anyone's top 100 Nintendo Switch games. So does this make my top 10 platformers? No, it does not. Because I have not really beaten this game yet. However, I did want to put it in a separate category, which we'll talk about later. So if Celeste didn't make the cut, what did? Well, I'm going to replace Celeste with Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. It is impossible for me to not put Yooka-Laylee in the Impossible Lair as one of my personal favorite platformers of all time. I think that down the road, this game is going to get a lot more praise and recognition than it currently gets right now. If you like Donkey Kong Country, if you like any of the 2D Donkey Kong games, then you are bound to love Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. They did a 3D platformer as well, and they redid that 3D platformer. But the true gem, in my opinion, the true game worthy of being considered one of the best, is Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. Check it out. You may enjoy it to the point where you agree with me, or perhaps you won't. But that's the fun of this. You don't agree? Make your own damn list. Up next, we have Hollow Knight. Remember what I said about Celeste? If you catch anybody telling you that this game is a hidden gem, hit that unsub button. Don't even think about it. Because by now, by the sequel Silksong that was released, everybody should know the brilliance of Hollow Knight. I personally enjoyed my time with it quite a bit. I beat it on Xbox and thoroughly enjoyed it. And while I did not complete every single boss battle, I still managed to beat quite a few to the point where the credits rolled, and that's good enough for me. However, does this game make my personal top 10 platformers? Once again, the answer is no. And the reason is fairly simple. I don't really consider Hollow Knight a pure platformer. Now, no game truly is a platformer, a pure platformer per se, but as you will see later down the road, I created some of my own categories, added some of my own spice, and Hollow Knight had to go elsewhere. It's still on my top 100 list, but it's not my top 10 platformer. So what is? Instead, I went with Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Now you might be wondering, how in the heck does Kirby and the Forgotten Land not end up on the, audience or viewer or community top 10 Nintendo Switch platformer of all time? There's a reason for that. They classified, or I should say, they put this game in a different category. A category that I don't personally agree with, which is why I removed it from there and put it deservedly in the top platformers on the Nintendo Switch. One of the top platformers. Top 10, easy. Maybe even top 3. This is how good Kirby and the Forgotten Lands is. And the best part? You can play an upgraded version on the Nintendo Switch too, that has even more enhancements and features. Somewhat best part, because you still have to pay up for it. But you get what you pay for. Quality. In this case, solid 3D platforming. One of the best Kirby games ever made. Definitely one of the best Switch platformers ever made. And easily on my top 10 platformers on the Nintendo Switch console. What did the community pick as the third best game? That would be Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I wonder if this was really that much of a hard choice. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, when you think about it, this is probably one of the best 2D platformers that carries the Mario name that has come out since the Wii, arguably. You could put Mario Maker in there too. But strictly speaking, when it comes to the overall presentation, graphics, and even some of the nuances that associate this game with freshness, I should say, I think that easily this game, and I can see why, it was chosen as one of the best. What I really like about it is the power-up system where the levels just go completely nuts and you are left with just wondrous things. Whether you're jumping on a hippo, whether you're riding a rhino, or doing all sorts of other things, you are bound to have a great time with Super Mario Wonder. Did this game make my top 10 platformers of all time? Of course it did. You take me for a fool? Calm down now. It's a rhetorical question. But yes, this is a no-brainer. Easily one of my favorite 2D platformers on the Switch, and definitely comes highly recommended. The fourth community pick was Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Now, the funny thing about this game, for me, is I beat this game 1.5 times on the Wii U. But I only went back and beat the Wii U version after I fully completed the Switch version. I don't know why. There are no achievements or anything associated with that, but I wanted to because I really enjoyed my time with this game. Everything from the level design, the colorful graphics, the amazing variety that you have, even the boss battles, and the addition of Funky Kong in this case that makes the game a lot more easier and accessible. Some of my personal favorite things within a game, accessibility. Make it happen, Nintendo. But yeah, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, easily one of the best platformers to grace the Switch, and even the Wii U for that matter. If you haven't played the Wii U version and are, wanting to get good games on the Wii U, this would probably make the top 10 platformers on there too. Not guess. This is easily making that list too. But does it make my list? Of course it does. This is probably one of my favorite 2D platformers of any console ever. Absolutely love Tropical Freeze. Where's my sequel? Up next, we have a double. The Ori Collection. Man, oh man, I played both of these games on the Xbox. Started off with Will of the Wisps. I thought it was one of my favorite games At least, well, I'm not going to name the genre, but you guys probably know if you've played it. And I absolutely fell in love with Will-O-the-Wisps, even though some stages really got me frustrated, especially some of the chase sequences towards the end. Man, what a pain. But I really enjoyed my time with these games. Definitely the sequel, in my opinion, is better than the first. But if the community chooses the collection, which I don't have, as the top 10 platformers, who am I to argue with that? Well, I am me to argue with that because I did not choose either one of these games to be the top 10 platformers on the Nintendo Switch. But as you can probably guess, with the Hollow Knight, Ori, and a few other games, I picked a new category to place these games in, which we will discuss when? Later. But for now, just know that these are easily considered, in my opinion, as the top 100 Nintendo Switch games that you should definitely try out for yourself. If you don't want to play both, at least try the second, which I believe is better, but they both have their unique charm because they play a bit differently. I love them though. Great games, but sadly, they don't cut it for me as the top 10 platformer on the Switch. But what does? I went with a controversial pick because I'm feeling lucky. Terrible pun. New Super Lucky's Tale. This is the game for those who enjoyed platformers on the PlayStation 2. It's very simplistic, very cartoony, and really the charm of a platformer is all here. It is a 3D platformer, and it is a game that I think is severely overlooked. One of my personal favorites, especially when they patched the game to make the camera work a lot better. Now, I did not beat this game on the Switch. I beat it on Xbox. But I don't really care. Even if this game plays 50% worse than the Xbox version, which I severely doubt, I'm still putting this game as the top platformer for any Nintendo Switch owner. If you like platformers, if you like old school traditional platformers, then there's little doubt in my mind that you will really get a kick out of New Super Lucky's Tale. Hard to say all at once. Try it out. Or blame me if you don't like it. Up next, we have Sonic Mania, chosen by the community as the best platformer. Now, this is what I call homework assignment because I have not played Sonic Mania. I have played a lot of games, and I continue to play a lot of games, but some just slip through the cracks. I don't have unlimited number of hours. I have the same, as a matter of fact, as you do. 24 all day long. But still, I definitely want to go back and play Sonic Mania sometime down the road, hopefully in 2026. I say that, but who knows? Funny enough, I've beaten the game down below, Sonic Racing, which is a great title. Can't wait to play the sequel. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the best 2D platformer as rated by the community. I think it's a 2D platformer, right? But yeah, sadly, haven't played it, so I certainly cannot put it on my list. But what am I going to sub it out with? Need I say more? Super Mario Odyssey. Have you heard of this game? Is this game a hidden gem? Who said that? Which YouTuber said that this game is a hidden gem? Let me know. But anyways, Super Mario Odyssey, easily one of the greatest 3D platformers out there. How could this community not put this game on the list of best platformers? Why do you think I'm making this list, huh? Yeah. Now you see the flaws of some of these lists, right? That's why I'm here. But hey, if you disagree with me, if you think that this game does not deserve to be on the Switch's top 10 platformers, you're wrong. But if you disagree, that's fine. Either or, I am putting this game on my top 10 platformers, easy, and I'm probably going to put it as my top 2, maybe even 1 platformer. I have to think about that for a little bit. But yeah, Super Mario Odyssey, great title, all-time classic. I don't need to talk about it anymore because you already know everything about it. Up next, we have Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. This game is another one of those Wii U enhancements that I beat on the Wii U. Not only did I beat it on the Wii U, I beat it 1.5 times on the Wii U. Then I came back onto the Switch and beat both of these two games again on the Nintendo Switch. So there's probably a good chance that I agree with the community. But let's find out, shall we? Super Mario 3D World, to me, is a perfect balance of 2D and 3D. It's about a 2.5D platformer that kind of keeps some of the traditional elements of Mario, like the timers and stuff like that, things that I don't like, but also adds in a lot of cool features and enhancements, like the Mario costumes, specifically the cat suit, which really enhances the gameplay in some pretty incredible ways. That's what Mario's all about anyways. Innovation, enhancement, creativity. That's what I love about these platformers. And yeah, Super Mario 3D Worlds and Bowser's Fury has loads of that, especially with Bowser's Fury. Is it Bowser's? Yeah, it is Bowser's Fury. This game is very special because it is a open world 3D Mario game that people, once they started playing it, realized they needed to have, that they don't. It is a great representation of what a 3D Mario game should be like. So hopefully down the road, we can get a more beefier version of Bowser's Fury. I would certainly love that. But I don't care about all that. Does this game make my top 10 platformers on the Nintendo Switch? Need I say more? Of course it does. Come on now. Up next, we have Cuphead. Man, this game will make your head hurt. It is a very painfully challenging game. Once again, do not call this a hidden gem. I'm coming after you. This game is well renowned by now, well known for being super challenging, super beautiful, and amazing. Do I agree with all those assessments? I think I do. The community voted this as one of the top 10 platformers on the Switch. And I must say that when I played Cuphead, I cheated a little bit. I could not get through the levels, all of them, in normal difficulty mode. So I had to ease up on the difficulty. But I appreciate that. Sometimes you just can't get through all of those things. And the reason why I have an excuse is because I leveled up my weapons incorrectly. And level up points are very scarce here. You make a few mistakes and you're done. Don't do it. Do some research. Look up what needs upgrading and what doesn't. But yeah, Cuphead, a great title, fantastic. Glad to see it make a top 10 platforming list. But does it make mine? No, it does not. I still consider Cuphead to be a lot more than just a platformer. Granted, it has a lot of platforming elements done really, really well. But the way I see it, it's more of a shmup. You can argue it's a platformer too. It has a lot of elements mixed into it. A boss battle rush mode. There's a little bit more to it than just a quote-unquote platformer. A great game. It does make my list elsewhere, but it does not make it on the platformers list. So, what did I choose instead? Kaz and the Wild Masks. Now you can call this a hidden gem, because I'm sure a lot of people don't know about this game yet. They should. But Kaz and the Wild Masks is yet another 2D Donkey Kong ripoff. But is that a bad thing? Absolutely not. Especially when you play this game, you'll realize just how amazing the quality of this 2D platformer is. Everything about this is very likable. Yes, it copies a lot from Donkey Kong, but why would that be a bad thing? If anything, I want more of those. Give me 5, 10, 15 more, and I'll be happy. Kaze and the Wild Masks stole my heart. I absolutely loved it from beginning to end, even if some of the boss battles and the final level was pretty darn challenging. Still though, give it a shot. Come back and let me know whether this game makes your top 10 Nintendo Switch platformers of all time. We're getting close to the end, folks. Just 2 more platformers to go. Number 9, and these are not, numbered, but the 9th game is Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. Guess what I have not done with this? I have not played this. Well, actually, correction. I played it for a brief moment, and then I moved on to something else. I don't remember what, but I should have stuck with this game because this makes the community's top 10 platformers list. But sadly, it doesn't qualify in my books, so I can't pick it anywhere. For now. There's always next year and the year after, or perhaps the year after. Hopefully I'll get around to playing this game eventually, but for now, I can't select it. So I have to disagree with the community just based on, I don't know. So what do I pick instead? Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Another flipping Donkey Kong. Hell to the banana, yes, my friends. Is there anything wrong with having more Donkey Kong as, your top Nintendo Switch platformer games? No, absolutely not. And Donkey Kong Returns HD is fresh on my mind, as I just beat it in 2025, and I loved it. I don't think it's as good as Tropical Freeze, but which games are? There are not going to be a lot of them out there. But Donkey Kong Country Returns HD is a fabulous entry on the Switch. It got a little hammered for being too pricey, or, some other complaints here and there. Maybe the enhancements weren't good enough for some. But I played it for the first time, and I enjoyed it a lot. So much so that it makes it on my top 10 Switch platformers of all time. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments. I'll read them, hopefully, but only if they're nice. And the final game for today's episode that the community went with, Shovel Knight, Treasure Trove Edition. I think that's what this is called. Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. There you go. I'm not going to say that again. But Shovel Knight is one of the earlier platformers that I beat on the PlayStation 4, I believe. And I had a great time with it. Has some amazing boss battles, some really challenging but fair platforming sections, and really the concept of just playing as a guy with a shovel as your weapon is amazing. I love this game, so much so that I think that this game should make my top 10 platformers on the Nintendo Switch as well. Yes, I'm choosing this game as well. I think it's a great 2D platformer, really inspiring the creativity from a lot of the indie teams back in the day, and even to this day. Some amazing work done on the Switch, some great strides in indie game development, and I love Shovel Knight quite a bit. I would love to see a sequel someday. Are they making it? I really do hope so. But yeah, easily makes my top 10 Nintendo Switch games, platforming games that is, of all time. So folks, this is the end of episode 1. You're bound to see a lot more great games in future episodes, all the way to 120, because that's the number of games the community chose. The community, like I said, Switch collectors on Reddit, mega thread listing the top 100 Switch games. If I can post a link in the link below, I'll do it. If I can't, go look it up on your own. Have a good day anyways. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you stuck around this long and put up with me. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.